Hold on. You okay? Taking a nap. I even let you pass it. Take your nap. And I'll wake you up, okay? You want a blanket? Be right over here, okay? All right, guys, you right there. All right, we're recording. Let's get started. Thank you guys for coming on. I'm actually recording from my mom's hospital room. So if you happen to hear an interruption or if I pause for a minute and come right back, I'm just checking on and making sure everything's good. But let's have a ball. If you have not already put your name in the chat, go ahead and put your name in the chat, please. It's the roll call. I'm gonna touch bases. We have 4 orientation chapters that well 5 orientation chapters that we really got to get taken through. We're on number 3 tonight, so just on number 3. We're progressively moving. We did our intro to careers. We also did our communicating for success, and what's communicating for success is tonight. So let's prepare to jump over. And the sooner we can get out of there, we can go into each discipline as chapter 1 intro chapters. So hold on one moment. It's going to take some life skill tonight. We are talking about communicating for success. Let me see what we got. Okay. So we are talking about some communicating for success tonight. Y'all, pretty much, and I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Everything that we do and everywhere we go, we're going to have to learn how to communicate. And so going through this chapter is simply talking about your experience that you've already developed, and then you're bringing it into another career. Okay, so nothing about communicating for success should be just foreign. It should just something we're just adding more cake to it. We're adding more frosting to it. We're just adding the good stuff on top. And we'll talk a little bit about encoding and decoding. And I have some key components I have some key components that I do want to discuss to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. Okay. And so when we talk about communicating for success, so let's go over the objectives first. And again, this is an orientation chapter for new students who come aboard. Looking at the learning objectives, yes, we want to initially explain communicating for success. How is that absolutely possible? We want to also practice communication skills. So we practice what we talk. We're going to practice what we preach today. How do you practice that? Um, One reference that everybody should get familiar with is introducing yourself. Okay. And if you're introducing yourself, they should know three things about you. And so think about all the stuff you do. We're not going to run down a resume, but three things about you. Okay. On top of, hi, my name is Destiny Cox. I'm the founder of DCI Education Group, and I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. That's my intro. As we begin to move into a conversation, I will share three additional points about me. Now we're getting ready to have conversation. And so practicing that, I don't know if anyone ever thought they would be a teacher or maybe a public speaker. Okay. And so there's so many professions and that we could go into, but definitely you thought about being a teacher, platform artist, public speaker, influencer. Okay. With any of social media platforms, just if you have an influencer bone in your body, we have to practice communication skills. And that's probably the most difficult one because you're talking to a screen and things of that nature, not really have real people in front of you. But nevertheless, it is the best kind to really teach you how to practice your communication skills. A few other things that when it comes to practicing communication skill is listening. Listening, okay? There's something we do during consultation. It's called reflective listening. And that simply is as we listen to the client, we are listening to understand, okay? We're listening to understand and give a solution. And so we should be repeating back what that client is saying or what that client says that they want to do for clarity. And so a lot of times, like I've told my day class, we don't have to do a lot of talking. Okay, we get our introduction, we got them there. Hey, we got them there. It's time to fulfill the service we say we're going to do. But it's also time to listen. And when it's time to listen, it's time for us to be quiet and it's time for us to pick that pen up and start writing because clients will give you all of the information you need. And as you continue, write those notes and put all those details together, it's going to tell you whether, yes, you can perform the service or no, you cannot perform the service. Okay. And so we're going to talk more about practicing communication skills. And then we're going to look at conducting the client consultation, which is one of my favorites when it comes to skin analysis, nail analysis, lash analysis, hair analysis. All of the analysis comes after the consultation. Hold on one moment. Hi. There we go.
The tray if you want me to put it out for you.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, that's cool.
You put it.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Huh?
I get mine. Okay, thank you.
It's the unflavored one.
All right. You know how to put it on?
Girl, you got
I done
food.
stuck with it.
Okay, I'll hold it in my lap.
Uh,
Yeah.
you said an unflavored ginger? Yes, please.
Mom, you want to eat, baby? Come on, go ahead and eat while it's warm. Hold on. All right. I didn't think we was gonna have pause that soon, but okay, I'm back. Is everybody still on? All right, that's good. So moving on with the objective number 3, conducting the client consultation. Here's a note I want you guys to put down. You know, a lot of times when you go and you're trying to build your salons, we want to do painting. You want to paint the walls and you want to do all of that. But please understand you will need to make sure that you have at least a black background or white background. And for you guys, you may say, what is that? Because you need to learn true tones. And when you're dealing with the eyes, you got to learn two tones. When you're dealing with the hands, the face, the back, everything, you got to learn the true tone of the skin. And so when you have pink walls, and pink is a relative of red, you're going to see everything warm. Okay. When you have blue walls or green walls, like teal or purple, you're gonna see everything cool. And so you don't misjudge in the right polish selection, or you won't misjudge in the right color for a tinting, brow tinting selection. You got to make sure you understand the true undertone of the client and trust in yourself that your eyes are not swayed more towards one tone, because that's majority of what you see on the wall. So make sure you have natural lighting and that you have a neutral background to really determine the undertone of a person's skin. Now I'm going to ask a question, and this is well, not a question, I'm going to make a statement. When you are talking client consultation, we never want to do the consultation in the same place that you're going to do the service. Y'all got it? Never do the consultation in the same place of the service. All right? And the reason why I'm saying that, the consultation sets the standard. The consultation sets the things in place. It raises the bar. All right? And so if we do the client services, example, oh, welcome, come on in, let's go straight to the chair. Come on in, let's go straight to the nail table. You know, we have eliminated that piece, that we put in place to make sure everything is agreed upon, that we can even do the services. When you eliminate the client consultation part, you don't care what they got to give you as far as payment. You didn't discuss it. You didn't agree upon it. You don't know if they had the money or not. You're performing a service and it may not match their pocketbook. Okay. Also, they're in the consultation, you find out whether you can even do the service or not. If they have a disorder of the skin around the eye, in the eye, the nails, it's so many things, onychotrophia, it is so many things, fungi, mildew. If they have disorders, um, you're not supposed to service them until there is a doctor's statement that releases them to get service. If they have a disease of the nail or disease of the eye area that's causing these um, symptoms of infection, and it's just unworkable, but they're still talking about, I want to get a service, I want to get a service. You cannot do those at all. In Tennessee, if your client has a common cold, they are not supposed to get a service. That's a common cold, that's sneezing and coughing and mucus everywhere. That's considered a communicable disease. The common cold is considered a communicable disease. And if someone calls on you, they're going to look at it. They're not going to look at it as, oh, it's just a cold. They're going to look at, oh, it's something that can be transferred from person to person. And then we got an outbreak. Then we got a whole family sick. And so that's what they're looking at. So you got to make sure in consultation that we don't bypass that part because we don't even know if we could service the client or not. Okay, so consultation is going to be very important. And for those individuals that are shy, it's time to jump out. This is your time where you practice because you have to come to the front. You got to ask the questions and you got to ask the hard questions when it comes to consultation. Um, and it's just like when you meet somebody for the first time. Let me give you an example of some consultation questions. When was the last time you've been to a salon? Do you go to the salon often? What services do you usually get when you go to the salon? Have you ever been to the salon and then they told you they could not service you? Why? Are you on any medications? And here's one when they say medications. If they say no, they're not on any medications. If they say no, they're not on, y'all. If this goes dead, stay on. I'll just log on my phone. Okay. If they are saying that they're not on any medications, but on your client consultation form, they did put that they're on birth control. Birth control is a medication, but it's sometimes people would deem it as not a medication if they have implants. All right. So we gotta ask questions. So if they said no medications, I'm gonna ask, you don't even have blood pressure? Do you have any issues with high blood pressure? Thyroid, diabetes? Are you on a birth control? So I won't leave it up to just the word medications. I will go a little deeper. All right. Are they currently taking any antibiotics? Are in nails and aesthetics and lashing, you guys all deal with lights. I just took a lash class in San Antonio, and it was a express 40-minute lash class, and it was lash extensions. And I was like, okay, let me see how this 40 minutes is going. And she was priming, and then she was putting everything on, but she was curing the lashes with an LED light. So it's kind of like the same light that for the nails, she had it in a handheld and she was doing that. If my client had epileptic seizures, okay, that would not be a good service because the light being so close to their sensory areas around the eyes, the face, all of the nerves on the face, it may, not saying it will, but it may send my client into a seizure, especially if the light is off and you have that light and then you all of a sudden just cut the light on. They're being exposed to something. Yeah, so they're being exposed to something that typically would be kind of ease to them. And so we learn all of this about them through the consultation, even what they do for a living. We do all that. So it's the beginning of the consultation. I think I told you once before, you will be an expert by the time you finish because I want you to be able to build solutions and I want you to have conversations with your client, and those conversations are going to equal you performing the best of services at all times. Next, we want to handle communication barriers and how would I say, handle, don't cover them up. As it comes up, let's deal with it. A communication barrier. Are y'all ready? Is your tone and delivery of the message you say. That's one of them. Your tone and delivery. Now, I just had a friend and he threw out the word I'm grown. And he said, "Ain't this what your mama said?" I said, "Yeah. My mom says to me all the time, I'm grown." That means stay out of my business. But it can be translated as a communication barrier because of the delivery of it, the tone of it. So if you want to get your message across, and I was telling the instructor that also, she text a statement, and I said, next time when you're speaking with a student, put a little bit more sugar on it than spice. And when I say add sugar, not spice, I mean let's cut the sassy out, you know. You get more done with sweetness than you will a attitude. All right. And so just trying to help somebody tonight. But at the end of the day, we need to know when it comes to communication barriers that although it's a message, it's an amazing message. Well, whatever we got to say is very important, but the delivery of it, the tone of voice that it came from, makes it not receivable from the person on the other end. So you may have a lot to say, but they're not listening. They're not paying any attention because they cannot receive it because of the tone, whether the tone was too strong or whether the tone was too light. It wasn't received. So you're gonna have to find your voice in business, in career. You're gonna have to find your voice. And they've been saying stand on 10. You're gonna have to find your voice. I don't know about 10, but you're gonna have to be strong and have a strong foundation in that if you're gonna run and operate business. Okay, especially when it comes to beauty. So handling communication barriers, how would you handle someone that mishandled you in communicating with you? Okay. Do you hang up the phone? Do you go tit for tat? Do you let me talk to you for a minute? It's hard. You probably miss cause it's hard to turn the cheek. But as you mature, and here's the thing about it's communication. Can I speak with you for a moment? You don't need to lie, because the more that it lies dormant, we start feeling, we get all these stories and we start assumptions and things. But may I speak with you for a moment? I want to talk to you about the way you made me feel when you said A, B, and C. Or I thought it was unnecessary for you to speak to me in that manner. Okay. And I'm really being proper about it because I know we could go another way. Okay. But I'm just giving you examples of how to address it at that time. And sometimes I found that people don't even know that they're mishandling you through conversation. They don't even know that their tone and their delivery is trash, because people have received it and accepted it from them for so long that they've really messed them up. They've really done them a disservice. Okay. And I tell people all the time, customer service, if the customer service amazing, you get me all the time. I could deal with you still learning. Okay. On my nails, I can deal with you still learning on my lashes. Um, but you have to have a pleasing personality. It has to be something about you. You have to have that customer service that really you give me an experience. Okay. You make me feel a certain way when I come sit in your chair. And so that means I'll forever come back and be a client, because one thing I know, she's always, or he are always going to get better. They're always going to get better. But the way they made me feel, it brought memory back to me. And I'm always searching for what made me feel good, what made me feel amazing, what made me feel. I came to that nail shop because they appreciate the money that I spend there. But I came to that last shop and I go to her because she makes me feel like somebody. And maybe at work, they don't feel like somebody. And maybe at home, they don't feel like anybody. And so that client consultation is going to work in play, and it's going to help you with any barriers that you have in consultation moving forward, whether it's with your clients or your coworkers. All right. Also, we're going to follow the guidelines of the workplace, which means, ooh, we're going to talk about rules. Follow guidelines for workplace communications. This is what I want to say. In Tennessee, maybe a couple of years ago, there was a law that was passed that it's illegal to bully in a workplace. So when you see people who are getting abused, verbally abused at work, that's illegal. Someone said, I can't do my work, or I can't do my work because they're talking about me, and it becomes aggressive, or it's become like a repeat behavior. That's causing the environment, their safety environment, to change. And legally, it's something they could do about it. All right. And so when they say you see something, you say something, but there can be workplace bullies. And so if they had to come up with a law for something. They're just not peeling it straight up out the air. So it doesn't has to have an opportunity for, of course, workplace investigation, but you deserve to work somewhere that's respectful, that does not um, cause you to move into an anxiety, panic, or not even a depression. My mom has been to a few facilities, but there's this one facility that she goes to, and when I walk in, I'm like, oh my goodness, can we smile? Oh my goodness, can we bring some sunshine in? Because no one should come to work and bring depression through the door at all. No one wants to work there. No one wants to come and get services there. And so we got to find a way to have this self motivation and this self joy. So that's what we want to talk about when it comes to chapter 3, our week 3 orientation. And so it's communicating for success. Do we know? Have we done this before? Yes. If you've ever had a job, you ever been into school before, you ever had a conversation, you've been to college before, yes, you have had conversations and communicated with people. We want to build lasting relationships. You do want professional growth, and you want to work in a positive work environment. And so communication is going to be your all in all. Okay. A lot of people communicate. I'm doing air quotes, network. Okay. They communicate and they network. It two being the same. All right. Bubbling personality. I told my students before, no longer is the time that you wait on people to come into your salons and spas because you are the best thing in town. That time is over. Okay. It is so many other variables that cause people to go to this person, that shop, and so on and so on. But you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to get your clients and bring them home. Okay. You're going to have to go out there and get them, which means you got to do some elbow rubbing. Where do your clients live? Where do they work? Where do they socialize? You're going to have to engulf yourself in those areas. Okay. Build your conversation. I'm teaching you how to build your conversation, your initial um, introduction, and then have 3 things about you that you can exchange communication with, conversation with, and get their contact information, your contact information, and keep it moving. And when we get that information, we'll do something called the power of the follow up. And the power of the follow up has been when you pick up the money that you've left on the table. Okay. We go back and get the money. So that's what we want. We want great human relations. You want to be able to get along with people. I know everybody's not going to like you, or you're not going to get along with everybody. But ultimately, in the beauty industry, y'all, we got to look good and we got to have fun. We don't want to be meanies all day. Let's look at practicing communication skills in the workplace communication. Respond instead of react. we're going to listen, but let's take in what they're saying and then respond. All right? Respond instead of reacting. Believe in yourself. Okay? You got to be, and I was telling my student, I want to be able to feel your confidence when you talk to me. All right? You're going to talk less and listen more, which means when we have that initial conversation about the services, I'm going to give my client the floor. Even though they've done the form, I want to give them the floor. I want to hear about them. And I want them to know that I am paying attention to what they're saying. Be attentive. Okay. We're going to be attentive, which means you're going to take concern with detail. Okay. Take concern with detail. So, a part of that consultation is you getting their name, you're getting their birthday, you're learning where they work, what their favorite colors are, maybe even their favorite snacks. And you're learning about their music choice. All right. You're learning what their favorite smells are. Because when they come into your salon or spa, okay, when they come into your salon or spa after a grueling day of work, you want to engulf their senses. Okay? Water, peppermint, or fruit water, chips, or whatever. You want to engulf their senses. So that's taste. You want it to smell relaxing. You want it to smell refreshing, smell good. All right. You want the place to look aesthetically pleasing. You may dim down the lights. You may have greenery. You may have something fresh on the wall. So you may have fresh flowers. You know, them, the client choosing us starts when they walk in that door. Okay. It doesn't start when they see who's available to do the lashes. It starts when they walk through the door. All right. They've chosen us when they walk through the door. Their senses are going on. So we want to make sure that we cater to all of those senses as well. Talk less, listen more, be attentive to detail, which means I'm going to ask her what she's doing for her birthday. I may have her birthday have a little small gift for her birthday. I'm going to remember her first day coming and getting a service. And every year we're going to celebrate her anniversary to the salon. That's amazing, guys. Okay, that's attention to detail. That's things that other people will not do, okay, or don't have the time to do, but you're building clientele. And you're not just building clientele, you're building relationships, okay? These lasting relationships will have an exchange of loyalty, which means they ain't going nowhere because they don't like it over there. They know how you treat them. They know you do great work. They want to stay right here. Then you want to take your temperature. Let's just throw our ego out the door. Is it really us? Uh, why do I always have an issue with a coworker? You need to check yourself. Why I always have an issue with clients? You may need to check yourself. Check your own temperature because sometimes it may be us. All right. And we may not have had the best of days. Okay. And so in that case, we got to make sure that we're good. Here's the golden rules of communication: professional demeanor. You do want to stay in a professionalism, in the line of professionalism. I know most beauty professionals, back in the day, we were very professional, wore black and white, but color has now become a part of just a rebirth of different parts of beauty. And people do break the rules. And there's this one hairdresser I absolutely loved. He was from the Italian Mascalo family. And so his name was Anthony Mascalo, one of my favorite hairdressers. He once said, "You have to know the rules to break the rules." So he's not against you doing your own thing, but you need to know the rules, know the beginning parts of it, take it and make different areas of it better. Okay. And so he's saying, as you get older, don't throw away our rules, don't throw away our not so much traditions, but our legacies, but absorb it, bring it in, and then take it and make your own. So you cannot break the rules until you know the rules. Okay. So learning your professional demeanor. All right. You may not say anything, but your body stance says everything. You standing up straight, your chest out, okay? You don't have arches in your back. You're not super relaxed. You're not hanging your body on the client. Your demeanor says everything, okay? And a lot of times, this is the time that we fix our face. A lot of people like to get away with it, like, oh, my face tells it all. Fix your face. If you cannot fix your face, put your mask on. And I've had to tell my students when we go over some Brazilian waxing or when we are starting to get into some pedicures, it may be a scent that may you ain't familiar with. Okay. But you need to put a mask on and prepare yourself because I don't want you to make the client feel like they are unwelcome. There's a way to say and do everything. Okay. And until we understand that and get that tact together and not act real tacky and bullyish, we need to make sure that we cover up and we train our face. Okay. We want to smile. You want your body language. Okay. My shoulders want to loosen up. All right. Pointing fingers is going to be a no no. Okay. Because remember, most of the time, and I'll just say for me in beauty education, y'all, I'm dealing with adults. I'm dealing with adults. Okay. And it has been nobody but God. Okay. I don't really run into people that I can't stand, and that's really not good for business. I love people. Okay. I also know how to make and maintain boundaries as well. So we got to make sure those are in place. But I love people. Okay. And at the end of the day, if there's something going on between you and another person, your body language, whether you're smiling at work, it will show. Okay. I tell people all the time, is this more important than the end goal? Everybody needs to be focused on the end goal. And when everybody is focused on the end goal, we could do more. We could do more, we could be better. So yes, smiling, body language, listening, okay? And that's where reflective listening comes in. Speak clearly. All right. So we not mumble rapping. Okay. Sometimes I have to tell my niece to slow down and go. Slow down. Stop. Okay. Give it to me, then stop. Because I'm trying to teach them to clarify their words. And so initially in the conversation, there's good communication. All right. Um, and then grammar matters. All right. It may matter to some people, but I found that in this new age, Gen Z, grammar is still grammar, it's still words, but I don't think it's a lot of emphasis on it as it did 20 years ago. And the reason why I'm saying that, when I look at the United States demographic of Generation Z, um, within it probably right down, and when by 2030, I believe, Gen Z is going to be the richest generation of the United States. Okay, that's everybody from 16 to 27. Okay, so they hadn't hit 30 yet, but they're going to be the most wealthiest generation in the United States. So a lot of people know money rules. If they are making the most money in the United States, they're probably going to strongly implement in their business practices, in their homes, language that may not be what we consider professional. Okay. Because if you have money, you have more assets to do new business. And so you're probably going to see a growth of businesses, social platform wise and outside social platforms, a growth of businesses with money to be fueled, and also they may change the language. Okay. Also, they may change the language. And so that's just a demographic that by 2030, those individuals 30 and under, you're gonna have more money than your parents. You're gonna see more money in your hands in your lifetime than your parents will have. Okay, which means with more money, they can do more things. The importance of effective communication, words. And when I came down to words, also thought about curse words as well too. You know, there's a different generation that some people use foul language, some people don't, and then some curse words are not even considered foul language anymore. But at the end of the day, here's a tip: go to dictionary.com. We're going to be dealing with people from all walks of life, and this is what I told them: your network is really your net worth. Your network, the people you hang around, the conversations you have, they're really going to determine where you sit in wealth. All right. And so if you're talking about, I want this amount in my next 5 year plan, I want to be making this amount, you're going to have conversations in those spaces. So you got to be familiar. Sometimes you just got to prep yourself for where you're going. That's all you're doing is prepping and priming yourself for where you're going. And so for me, learning public speaking, I affirmations, the mirror, comedy shows, improv, um, just learning stuff off the top of my head. But also, I looked at Steve Jobs. Okay. Steve Jobs was the key component in teaching me how to become a public speaker because he worked the room from a big stage. He had knowledge and he had a sense of humor. All right. He didn't come out with a lot of gimmicks. You knew what you were getting when he came to the stage. And so I took a lot from that. Also, TED Talks. Okay. But I also learned words daily. And right now, if I could focus, I want to jump back into Spanish. Okay. But if I could focus, I'm going to have to be 100% honest with you. I want to be able to articulate a course in Spanish. Right now, we have a Spanish liaison that helps with students who are speak majority Spanish. But we have a couple of Indian students, and I'm like, okay, I need to learn a couple of words. So I am challenging myself on my words. Voice inflections. How you doing?
Hey, I'm Tanya. I'm gonna be working with you all again tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you doing okay? Good, good. I'm good.
She's a little irritable. She's coming out of her clothes.
I just make sure they're still connected because I did have the incident where this came disconnected right here.
Hold
I
on,
just put
guys.
it back. It's still staying.
Okay. Was there a replacement at some point? No, that
It
was the
may just
original
be
gentleman.
older. Yeah. She got it done here, but it's been a while.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. So we look at words, we look at voice inflections, and sometimes you can get your point across just by the way that you talk. Facial expressions, we talked about that, body language, and then visual tools, portfolios, lookbooks, and visual tools. When you look at social platforms, I am looking at Instagram. And so if I'm out and traveling and someone says, hey, get my contact information, I'm going to tell them, pull up your Instagram. And I'm going to pull my Instagram up. I simply use my Instagram as to trade information. I rarely ever, have business cards. I have to get some for the school. But even if someone wants information for the school, I tell them check out our social media platforms. That's just where a lot of the world is going now. Not wasting paper. Everybody has technology. Um, They have these AI bots and things like that. So we need to use them for better communication. And it works well for me because I don't have to juggle around cards and flyers and things like that. So just make sure I show up on my social platforms daily, and then also they the people who I share the information with, they get to check my resume and I get to check theirs. So those are some visual tools. And somebody always texting you a nail design, somebody will always text you a lash look. And so those are electronic. And so they're technology fueled. And so websites, all kinds of different forms of visual presentation comes up. Let's look at we might end up finishing in a little while. Okay. The client intake form. The client intake form, I'm gonna tell you this, goes digital. Okay. The client intake form is also called a client consultation form. So just like if you were going to go to a doctor, when they come to get services from you, you're going to have a client intake form for lash extensions and a client intake form for manicuring. All right. This is the first thing they do. You gather the data and information. We can't have a consultation without this information. All right. Once they complete this, you're going to look it over, same as you'll go to a doctor's office. If you see red flags, this is what we're going to particularly be discussing in the consultation. The consultation gets a little nosy. It's going to ask for contact information, what products you've used, what are your care needs, what services you often go and get in the salon or spas. What's your preferences? Also, preferences as far as names as well. The lifestyle. When I ask about their job, whether someone says they work in a warehouse or a teacher, it helps me narrow down the type of service or the type of client that they're going to be. Also, when I'm telling you about medications, birth control is a form of medications, but guys, make that WebMD anywhere that can give you updates and side effects of medications. Put it on your phone, because as they put their medication down, you're able to go check it out and look at it. The side effects will tell you how hair, skin, and nails will be affected. Okay. Birth control has a heavy component of hormonal imbalances. Okay. Anyone dealing with pregnancy, that's a reproductive, anyone dealing with PCOS, that's a endocrine, hormonal issues, all of that is going to be so important for hair, skin, and nail growth. Okay. Also for the repair of hair, skin, and nail. And so it's going to be important that they fill this out and you all have a conversation about medications. Even if they said if they have no medications, next I'm gonna ask, what about your vitamin intake? What about your water intake? So their vitamin intake, their diet, their exercise, all of that is going to come in the same family of me talking about medications. When we look at medical issues or disorders, those medical issues or disorders are going to let us know if we can service them or not. Because we cannot service somebody that has fungus on their nails. You need to go to the doctor and get that checked out. Okay. Once you get that checked out, start your medication, then you can come back here. All right. So that should be, we don't want to just, oh, it's nothing. I can go ahead and do it over that. Mm-mm. Same thing for lashes. There's conjunctivitis. There's infection inside of the eye. There's skin lice, like like bug lights, scabies. You have skin lights on your skin and around your eye. Okay, they're like little bugs, like scabies around that area. So it comes from being dark, dirty, damp, just bacteria starts to grow. But also maybe to use someone's towel, washcloth, they put on somebody else's lashes, somebody else's glasses, they use somebody makeup that has something communicable. Okay. And maybe that person didn't break out, but the person that used it, yeah. Okay. And this also, you can find this people that sleep on couches, and you may have been in a house, or you may have traveled and something got on you or something bit you. All of that is conversation that you'll need to have with your client. Even talking about your allergies and sensitivities. Your allergies and sensitivities is going to be very important, because you're going to be so cautious when it comes to their allergies and sensitivities. You're going to have their service catered, and because you don't want them to have infection and anything like that going on, any weird causes. You don't want that to happen. So you're going to make sure everything is good. Here's your second form, the release form, which is very, very important. The release form says, you have been honest with me about everything you got going on. Sign the paper. You have been honest with me about everything you got going on. And because you're honest with me, you do not hold me liable if something happens to your hair, skin, or nails. Okay? It makes them put it in black and white. Okay? You put it on paper. It's like a little a contract. Okay? And if the client was not honest with you and something happens, it goes back on them. They can't sue you. It's not your fault. But if you are taking money and you're performing a service, whether licensed or not, you are taking hold of that responsibility. So the least you can do is give the people a license. Okay? You're taking hold of the responsibility. So I always ask, make sure you're honest with me. You're very truthful on the form, because it's going to cost both of us if you're not. All right? So that's the release form. You guys, we should be getting a release form for social media and pictures. You can put two together. One, you're taking pictures of your clients without permission. You got to make sure we take pictures of the clients, but you ask permission before you take the pictures. Number two, if you're going to use them on social media platform, you have to make sure you have that signature, because they could easily say, especially if it was a kid, you're exploiting their child. You exploited them for your own gain on social media. So whatever money you may have made off of that post or sale, they're just going to sue you in general, and you will have to pay the person um, who you did not get the release from. I'm telling you, people are serious about their contracts. All right. So just to make sure everybody's on the right page, you got client consultation form and you have release statement. Okay. How to use the intake form. Now with the consultation, I used to do free consultations. Now my consultations are like $1 a minute, because some people will come in and take you away from your clients and service and want to sit there and talk about their hair for 30 minutes to an hour, and they not book anything, and it's just wasted time. And so what we have to do, what I had to do, was put my consultation at a max of 15 minutes. If you don't get what you need to get in 15 minutes, you're going to have to reschedule another consultation. Okay? And sometimes I do it free as a perk. And sometimes when I'm at a show, I would do $1 a minute. So a lot of times when people pay for something, they are more attached to it. They show up more. Okay. And then look at how often with any significant changes. So here's how the consultation form works. Their first time, they'll fill it out. Okay. The next time they come, you ask if anything changed. If nothing has changed, they will sign and date. And they will continue to do that until there is a change, and then we will update that change on the form. Same thing with our release statements. Okay. This is what are the golden rule of communication. we got it going. All right. So you're conducting the client consultation, determining client needs, how to achieve desired results, and before every service, you don't do it at the chair. All right. Preparing the client this consultation is these are the items making sure you have everything together. Your tools, you're gonna need your iPad, your tablet, your whatever you have them signing that form off of, okay? Or you have the form in hand. You're gonna need books and pamphlets and digital images because you don't want to be scrambling when they come. You want to have those items already there. Have your menu open. What services you offer? What are your time availabilities? Okay, and what are some of the work that you have done? All right, and if it's nails, swatch books. Some trendiness. What are they looking for? When it's lashes, may go ahead and put your lash book together. You never know. There is a 10-step consultation method. Put a star that you would need to know the 10-step consultation method, okay? 10 steps. Review, assess preferences, analyze lifestyle, okay? Show and tell, recommend, upsell, maintenance, and repeat. Basically, this is a 10-part cheat code to servicing your clients. It's a cheat code for servicing your clients. You will need to know what we're talking about. When we look at concluding the service, all right, you don't just walk them out the door. Well, first, walking them out the door closes the service. If you just let them linger, the service is still open. They're bothering you. They're taking time from someone else. But when you walk them to the door and then they exit, that service is over. All right. The next time they come in, either to purchase retail on the go or come in and purchase enrollment packets or something of that nature. Service notes. When you're done, you need to document how it turned out, any problems you had, any special formulas you had to use this time. You'll say, Ms. Cost, why do we have to do all of that? Because what if you're not able to service them one day? That consultation form, release form, and service note form should all give the new person an idea of what to look for. Okay, an idea of what to look for. And say, oh, this was good until minute 45. When we got to 45 minutes, she started acting this way. Okay,
For nutrition.
come in. She's not done yet.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So we're still sharing. We're on 19. We're on slide 19. We're gonna finish this tonight. Tonight is dedicated to communicating for success. All right. Handle communication barriers. When we talk about communication barriers, those things that fall in place that causes issues. Okay. Cosmetology, the beauty industry should be fun. You make people look good and you make people feel good. We don't want no smoke. We don't want no drama. Okay. So we need to identify these things even within our teams and go ahead and address them. Tardiness. Okay. Learn the shop policies. Schedule earlier. Okay. Or schedule last. We got to be able to follow the policies. Scheduling mix ups, be polite, don't go in aggressive, being argumentative, seek a resolution always, and don't go to look for fault, like whose fault it is, okay? Resolving unhappy clients. We'll talk about more about that in house. Resolving unhappy clients. I don't really think the golden rule is that the client is always right. I that's not me. But I'm not going to intentionally argue with the client. Um because there's so many things that lay on the line of me having a successful business. I am not going to waste the energy and argue with you. Okay. Let's just look for a resolution. Okay, and if we got to bring a third party person in to really analyze both sides, that's fine. But I'm a solution focused. Let's look for a solution. Okay, managing differences. No one's ever going to be perfect. All right, no one's perfect, but we can work together with people even if you don't like them. Okay, it's called teamwork, team development. It's called maturity. Getting too personal. I was telling my students about three things. Okay, three things, and we want to not have conversations. I mean, you've heard it before. We don't want to. We don't want to talk about politics. We don't want to talk about religion, and we don't want to talk about sex. All right. Those are three strong topics that really would drive the energy in your salon or spa. All right. And so most of the time your clients are going to be attracted to you. So everybody has a tribe. Everybody has people who just want you to do them, okay? And so you got to learn the climate of your people as well. Uh, the economic struggles, it is so much stuff going on that can really take from the positive image. So tread lightly when it comes to conversation. When you see it starting to buzz, find a safe word and move on to the next thing. Okay, especially if you're not, culturally or you're not looking at the news, you're not keeping up with the updates. And sometimes, and I'm gonna just say this for me, I don't watch news and I don't watch much of TV. If I find out something that's going on in the city, I found it on Instagram because I think I follow Fox 13. Found it on Instagram. Okay. And so at the end of the day, we have to be very careful about getting too personal because clients will love you until they disagree with you. All right. And I'm going to tell you this, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. You have enough time to practice getting it off your sleeve today because it you have to be part of a team and you don't have to do everybody. Okay. Everybody's not going to be your people to do, but I want you to know we have to continue working. There's a goal, there's a job that has to be done. And so, a negative play, negative energy in the workplace, addressing barriers and not coming to the table with solutions just cause continued issues. Okay. It says, don't be your client's counselors, couch, doctor, career, or parenting coach. We are family. If sometime we could be all of these to them, all right? But if your timing is not sufficient, you probably need to just keep it moving, okay? Because sometimes being comfortable and we're talking, that increases our time. So we don't get through in the time projections we thought we were going to get through. Hold on one moment. Okay. Somebody's trying to get back in. Thank you for texting me that you were trying to get back in because when I have this screen up, I really can't see who's in the waiting room. So thank you for that. Okay. And so yeah, just make sure their clients are going to come to us for a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say don't be a coach, don't give your advice and things like that. That's a strong understatement. Not to, it is suggested, but we have to build rapport with people. Just understand where your clients are and understand your position as well. Okay, you got to show some empathy and some sympathy sometimes, and sometimes people, you are the only person they have to talk to. And so there are ways that you can say, definitely, I understand. Let's continue to move on. And if we have some time later on, I would like to sit and chat with you about it. Okay. And so it's always a way that you can do it professionally. Use neutral subjects to return to beauty. When they spin out and talk about Trump and talk about all kind of stuff, find some way to spin that back around. You can do that with music, something that make you smile. put a TV show on, something that's neutral. Okay. And then, of course, avoiding gossip, religion, and politics. Hold on one moment. Okay, yes, guys, I had to check on mine real quick. But avoid gossip, religion, politics. That gossip part, clients are really trying to learn who they can trust, who they can build relationships with. And so you think you're having an intimate conversation with your clients, but really they're trying to see. This is could be in the back of somebody's mind. If she's gossiping, talking about her to me, she'll do the same thing when I leave. And so we want to be aware of professional development as we mature and grow in business. It's not good business to gossip. It's not good business to gripe about your job or your boss or your position. It's not. It's just simply not good business because it leaves a stain on your reputation. Okay. Even if it's the owner. Look, you can't please everybody. Somebody's not gonna like you. Somebody's not gonna agree with the best decision you made for the business. Just stand tall on the best decision you made for the business, and don't worry about anybody else but you and your client's relationship. Also, when we look here, when you're having conversation with the clients, um, you want to make sure, and I think I'm gonna show the video. You want to make sure that you're not smacking, you're not talking with food in your mouth. So you want to always check that and make sure that it's good. You're giving attention to the client. Of course, we know what we're avoiding, but we also need to learn our pitch. You never know where the next client is. And so our pitch is going to be that introduction. Three things you do best, or three things about you. That's what you're going to share as you start building that relationship with that person. And remember, your rapport, your relationship is going to, your reputation is going to go before you. The best form of marketing is still word of mouth. Okay. So referrals, referrals, referrals. And so how you treat people in the workplace, how people see you perform, that's going to be big to a lot of people. All right. So we're going to follow guidelines for workplace communication. So communicating for coworkers, being honest, being sensitive, remain objective. You're going to treat everyone with respect. I don't believe in, this is my opinion, they got to earn respect. They just met you. You should have some form of nicety. Say hello. How are you doing? It's nice to meet you. Um, Off the jump, that is a form of respect. And if someone, I'm usually sir, ma'am for everybody. Okay. And if you probably will learn this, I learn last names sometimes before first names. So when I was starting to teach in my early 20s, I couldn't remember people's names all the time, and I didn't want to disrespect their name, okay? Because everybody, like your mom named you that. That was precious. I didn't want to disrespect their names. And so my eyes would cling to their last names, and it would be Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Miss Thomas. Even though her name was Senorita da da da, I called her Miss Thomas. And she was 16. She was still Miss Thomas. She was 65. She was really Miss Thomas. Okay. And so it's just sometimes that's just laid on the line. I love to serve people. I love to also make sure people are feeling good. And so If there are any challenges or barriers, I like to make sure there's solutions placed there are solutions in place to take care of that. And that comes from just years of entrepreneurship building and working with all types of people. Okay. And you guys have it inside of you as well. Remain objective, be honest and sensitive, remain neutral, avoiding gossip. Just continuation of what we talked about, just to sum it up. Keeping private life private. They do not need to know about what you and your husband got going on. Okay? If the conversation gets too risque, I need you to make sure that you go on about your business, okay? Okay, that's awesome. Shout out to our YouTube, those that are watching via our live YouTube. Shout out. Okay. Um, so yes, you're gonna make sure you follow your guidelines for workplace communication. And these are just the typical things to keep it cool, keep it Gucci, keep it 100 in the workplace. You gotta find a way to get along with the people that you work with. And when I tell you, it is a joy to come to work in an amazing environment. And when you and your homegirl, your coworker, which is like your work best friend, when all of y'all feel amazing, you start to look amazing and you perform even more amazing. People come out of there looking great, they're complimenting, everybody's making money. But when you got one that starts to spoil the batch, it's time to figure out, okay, let's get this together, find a resolution, because we got to get back on our train. We got to get back going. Okay. Continue guidelines. Be a problem solver. You can come to the table with suggestions, but know what I'm going to ask you next? What are some of your ideas to solve this problem? Let's go. Get your facts straight. Make sure you have your truth, your honesty together. Don't come in there saying you think. Have all your stuff in order, especially if you need to talk it out with a coworker. No assumptions. No, I thought she did. They said you need to have the truth, the facts, okay? Be open and honest. All right. Integrity and your character is going to move you in many rooms. You ain't even seen nothing yet. Okay. But just by you being honest, just by people knowing your character, you're going to be all right. Do not gossip or complain about colleagues because it's going to get back. Somebody going to tell somebody. Okay. Be open to constructive criticism. Mm. Some people will ask for it, okay? Read the room. Be open to constructive criticism. I can take it. But you know what I want to do? I'm going to ask you, how do you think we can do better? I can take it. How do you think we can do better? Now, what I won't do, be open to a beat down, emotional beat down. But let's take whatever wrong. Let me acknowledge, yeah, I could have did that in a better way. Yeah. But also, do you have any suggestions how I can make this better? Because one person don't know everything. We don't. And so it's good to have collaboration. It's good to speak with somebody. It's good to have that safety place where somebody could tell you, girl, you wrong for that. You look, you took too much time doing it. This is a solution. I want you to win. So I want you to learn how to do it this way. And you're going to come in with more money and you're going to save more time. So, and if you like correcting and helping and teaching people, that's fine. But come with some solutions. And honestly, I have to pray about how I deliver it. I don't think I'm a meanie, but some people are just not used to people saying, hey, um, if you don't mind, I want to talk. Can I talk to you about something? No pun intended, but I saw that you did such and such, and it was a little longer. I have another technique that you can make more money and save on your time. I don't mind showing you when we have spare time, but I really think you need to check it out and maybe adopt it, and we can keep making this money. And it depends on the person on the other side. But we got to be able to deliver it in a great tone and body position. Don't have negative body language. It's not written all over our face. They're secure with us. They know they're not going to go and gossip, you know? So it's just something we have to make sure that we continue to do. And it is possible. It is possible to have great working relationships with people. Okay. Communicating during an employee evaluation. And this means not getting upset if you don't get straight A's, 100s all the way across. No one's perfect. And one thing we need to learn is that workplace, they're never going to give you tens all the way across. Okay. It's always something that you can improve on. Always something. As we close out with our summary and review, I want you to take away communicating for success. Not only do we check us, but we make sure now that our client is taken care of. Y'all, we're about to get ready to go into our hands-on training, into deeper into the courses, the lash course, deeper into the nail course. So let's go ahead and get these soft skills out the way. Okay. And so now we know how to deal with people. We know how to communicate with them. We know how to detour from those subjects that's really gonna, cause us to go left and tension to be in the place. We know also gossiping, griping doesn't do anything good for us. But coming in with smile, controlling our body language, our facial features, and just that consultation was just an introduction today. You're gonna increase that consultation to the day you hang up your license. It's just gonna get greater. That's all it's gonna just get greater. And people are gonna come to you because they know you're knowledgeable, you know your stuff, and you're able to steer them in the right direction. So everybody that comes to get a consultation may not be your client, but they trust you. So you can find a way to monetize off of that. Like, hey, you gotta come, and if you insist on coming, but someone else is doing your service, you got to come over here and you're going to have to pay for the consultation. And so it is so many ways to monetize what you guys do. But let's just learn this intro, and then we'll start to move into our perspective areas. Okay. Guys, we had an emergency. I didn't put um, your chapters in the Facebook group, but I am gonna put it in the Facebook group. And guess what, guys? It's only a few of you. I really can email. I'm gonna email it to each of you just to make sure we all good. But especially the nail students. So I just need to make sure I put that first chapter. We still got two more orientation chapters. Two more orientation chapters. One is on nutrition and health. Okay, so that's talking about us keeping our bodies healthy, prepared for work. And the last chapter is sanitation. All right. And so it's hygiene, sanitation, sterilization, infection control. So we're gonna take 2 weeks to finish those. And because Tennessee tests, all of them are a major focus on sanitation and infection control. So that's going to be your last orientation chapter, and it's going to be a big chapter. All right. So we got to make sure that we dot every I, cross every T. I'm gonna check on mom. I'm here. You guys know how to reach me. Just text me. We are at the end of our lesson for chapter 3, and I'm just gonna be hanging out in the hospital. So, again, I'm gonna get my admin to remind me to just let's go ahead and just get some things settled. But I'm gonna check on mom. If you need me, contact me. And thanks for joining us on our YouTube page. I appreciate you. If you're on the page, um, sign out. Just say, hey, give us your name and say, hey, signing out. Let me know what that experience was for you on that side, because we may be doing a little more, may have it as another option as well. So, and I'm glad we were live streamed tonight, so we were able to accommodate our student. So y'all have a blessed and amazing evening. Remember, this is recorded. It should be available in the next couple of hours, if not an hour or two. So if you need to go back and go over anything, it is there. We also have over 100 other videos. DCI Education Group, go and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Be blessed.